The altars, when fixing your life means facing yourself. At first glance, the altars looks like a survival and base management game set on a hostile alien planet. You gather resources, expand a mobile base, manage time, and fight against deadly radiation. But very quickly it becomes clear that survival is not the real challenge here. The real struggle is internal. The core idea of the altars is deceptively simple and deeply unsettling. You play as Jan Dolski, the sole survivor of a failed space expedition. Stranded and alone, you discover a technology that allows you to create altars, alternative versions of yourself, shaped by different life choices you never made. These are not clones in the traditional sci-fi sense. Each altar represents a different path Jan could have taken. A Jan who stayed in university, a Jan who became a scientist, a Jan who was braver, colder, more ambitious, or more bitter. Same face, same memories up to a point, but completely different personalities, values, and emotional baggage. For survival as a psychological pressure cooker, from a gameplay perspective, the altars blend survival, time management, and base building into a tightly controlled loop. Days are short, radiation is deadly, and every decision has a cost. Expanding the base increases its weight, which means higher fuel consumption. Delaying a task can snowball into disaster. This constant pressure is not accidental. The game is designed to keep you stressed, always slightly behind, always forced to choose. Do you gather more resources or do you rest? Do you build a new module or save fuel? Do you listen to an altar's emotional needs or focus on the mission? For some players, this relentless tension is exhausting. For others, it is exactly what gives the altars its identity. Survival here is not power fantasy, it is compromise. The altars are the game. Most impressive achievement of the altars is how its central mechanic is also its narrative backbone. Managing the altars is not just about efficiency. Each one has fears, regrets, opinions, and demands. They talk to each other, they argue, they judge you, ignore them, and morale collapses. Push them too hard, and rebellion becomes a real threat. In extreme cases, your own altars can turn against you, not because they are evil, but because they believe you're making the wrong choices. The unsettling brilliance lies in the fact that they might be right. These conversations constantly circle around identity and regret. The game repeatedly asks the same quiet question: what if you had chosen differently? And more importantly, would that version of you actually be happier? A world that feels alien without being empty. The planet itself is lifeless, but never boring. Locations are compact, deliberately designed, and filled with visual storytelling. Lava waterfalls, jagged rock formations, strange anomalies, and an ever-present sense of hostility make the world feel genuinely alien. Unlike many open-world survival games, exploration here is focused. There is little filler. Every trip outside the base feels purposeful, dangerous, and time-sensitive. You are never wandering. You're surviving on borrowed minutes. The sound design and music reinforce this tone perfectly. Minimalist, melancholic, and often oppressive, the soundtrack never tries to comfort you. It reminds you that you're alone, even when surrounded by versions of yourself. The flaws that are hard to ignore. Despite its ambition, the altars is not without issues. Repetition can set in during longer playthroughs, especially for completionist players. Some systems feel rigid, and certain choices give the illusion of depth without significantly altering outcomes. Technical problems like the widely reported rebellion bug can severely damage the experience. In a game built around long-term planning and emotional investment, a progression-breaking issue is especially painful. There is also an ongoing debate around difficulty. While recent updates introduce more relaxed modes, many players feel the game still leans too heavily into stress, limiting its appeal to those seeking a slower, more contemplative experience. More than survival, at its best, the altars is not about escaping a planet or completing a mission. It is about confronting the uncomfortable idea that no version of yourself is perfect. Fixing the past does not erase regret, it multiplies it. This is a game that stays with you, not because of explosions or spectacle, but because it quietly forces self-reflection. It asks whether acceptance might be more important than optimization. For players who value atmosphere, philosophical science fiction, and emotionally driven systems, The Altars stands out as one of the most distinctive experiences of its generation: flawed, demanding, and deeply human.